Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but I felt really prompted today to do one. I've been in this beautiful season of rest, and I think it's the place that we should live and flow out of. And so, but this morning I woke up and I was just so blasted by the love of God that I couldn't help but give it away. I really felt the prompting of the Lord to release a video today. And so the Lord woke me up with a reminder of a vision that I had, and I want to release that over you today. So I had this vision. I was in worship. I was in this worship service, and I was just on the floor, just with the Lord, just in my place, in my realm, in my zone. And I remember as I was just worshiping, I was like, Father, where are we going today? What are we doing today? Who are we loving today? I went into this vision, and in this vision there was, like multitudes of people, and they were kind of standing in a circle, but they were like stacked on top of each other, like behind each other, in front of each other, and there were so many. And all of a sudden I began to see in the middle of this circle was Jesus, and Jesus was standing there and I was standing beside him. And I looked at him and I said, Jesus, who are we gonna love today? Like, the world is so big. The world is so big. Like, who are we gonna love today? Like, who's the one we're gonna stop for today? And he just kept staring at me, and I was like, Jesus, who are we gonna love today? And I was like, who are we gonna love on? And Jesus said, you. Like, you're worthy to be loved on too. And I remember that moment. It changed my entire life. I was so offended because I just wanted to change the world, and all Jesus really wanted was to just love me. And it set me into this season, I would say, of my life where I had to learn what it looked like to love me. My entire life I've been in ministry. I mean, for as long as I can remember. There was a short season when I wasn't, but since I was a child, since I could speak, I was in some kind of ministry. I was serving in some kind of way. I grew up in a pastor's home. And so this whole, like, taking care of yourself, loving yourself well, it wasn't really the culture I grew up in. It was more so like you gave your life. you poured it out. And I love it. It's my passion. I love people. But the Lord started taking me into this season of, if you can't love you, then how will you love others? If you can't love you, how will you love me? You can only love with the capacity that you've been loved. This other moment, I was in a car with a friend of mine. I remember I said something and he stopped me and he said, I think you're really good at loving people, but I don't always think you're good at being loved. And I like, hit me in a way that changed everything. He was like, your identity is not found in performance. Your identity is not found in striving. Your identity is not found in the stage. Like, your identity is not found in those places. Like, that's all that you've ever known your entire life. But your identity is not actually found in that. Like, you're more than that, and you're worth loving past that. And I thought, well, if I'm not those things, then who am I? And it sent me on this crazy journey of resting. Like, what does it actually look like to be enough without doing anything? This morning I got a message from a friend of mine. She was leading a service, and she's like, I'm really nervous. Like, what if I get in the way of what God wants to do? And the Lord blasted with me with even more love. And I remember messaging her back, and I was like, something that I've learned in this past season is you are the plan of God. How can you get in the way of what God wants to do when you are the plan? Like, you are his heart. He is more concerned about your heart than the service you're leading. He is more concerned about his daughter feeling so outrageously loved, regardless of what she can perform with, regardless of what she can give away, regardless of what she could do. Like, you are enough. Like, you are enough. That's it. Not for what you can do. I remember this one moment in time. I stood on a stage. I actually went on my knees on the stage with a microphone, and it was silent. And I just remember saying, like, I know this is going to be awkward for some of you, and that's okay. But sometimes in the silence, like, that's when God is speaking the loudest. And what if we never did another thing? Like, it wouldn't change his love for us. It wouldn't change the way he loves us. Like, he is love. The essence of who he is love. And you are so outrageously loved, regardless of what you can give, regardless of what you can do. Just you, who you are, is enough. If you didn't do another thing, you are enough. I remember I was sitting with someone at one point, and he was like, what is your greatest fear? And I said, honestly, my greatest fear is not being enough or being too much. He asked me, he said, I want you to define what is enough. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like one of the first times in my life I became speechless. And I was like, I'm not sure, like, what it is. And he's like, exactly. The only way to break not feeling like you're enough or feeling like you're too much is to be loved unconditionally for exactly who you are. And so he actually challenged me. He said, I dare you, Diana, to go to the people in your life and don't give them anything. Don't do anything for them. Just bring yourself. And I dare you to let yourself just be loved unconditionally, regardless of action. We have this perception of like, oh, if I do this, like God will be angry. If I do this, God will be judgmental. If I do this person will be disappointed. I challenge you today to sit down with the Lord and be still. And I challenge you to ask him, what area of my life could I allow you to love me more unconditionally? Because he's already loving you in that area. It's just about bringing the awareness to you that he's loving you. Like, what areas of my life am I believing that I'm not enough? What areas of my life am I not resting in? What areas in my life am I striving in? What areas in my life am I performing in? What areas in my life am I finding identity in my doing? What areas do I just need to rest in? I also want to challenge you to close your eyes and imagine yourself standing in that multitude of people with Jesus. And I want you to imagine him looking at you and saying, you are the one that we're going to love today. You are so outrageously loved. I love you guys. I bless you. I hope that this video is just a love encounter waiting to happen, because you're worth that and you deserve it. You deserve to be loved outrageously because you are loved outrageously. So I just pray that you would just be awakened in a greater capacity to that love, that you would just become aware of the unconditional, relentless pursuit and love of God for you. Not for what you can do, not for how you can change, not for how you can change the world, but just simply because you are enough for him. You are his dream. I love you guys. I bless you.